We've complained about, how long the run times are on movies, but they did it completely wrong. They speed through and skip things that would make the movie make sense, make you care, and then they take a very long time for things that are tedious, unfunny, unwatchable. There are so many people trying to distance themselves from this movie. I mean, there are people in craft services that are going, could you take my names off the credits? I don't really want to be involved. Welcome to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. We encourage you to, when you go see a movie, then come see us and watch us, listen to the podcast, or don't go see this movie. We're talking about Borderlands, and it's the best-selling video game that is now a movie. Is it a movie? An all-star cast forms a ragtag team of misfits on a mission to save a missing girl who holds the key to unimaginable power.
Legend has it that there's this massive treasure hidden in some secret vault. And if you go hunting for it, you'd better take any help you can get.
After our review, we always go into a big question, and it is today.
The big question today, being Borderlands and all, is what major video game, or minor, I guess, but what major video game would you like to see made into a feature film?
It's going to be a lot of great answers, I think, from our listeners, and we'll see if we measure up. Let's talk Borderlands, if we must.
Bradford, you look awfully smug. Would you like to start? Oh, God. He's setting up something.
When a movie spends this much money and flops this badly, hopefully it sends a signal that you shouldn't keep repeating failures. This is messy. It's rushed. It's bad. It's unworthy of being a film. And that is very disappointing to me because while I didn't necessarily play all the different Borderlands video games, when you have a cast that features plenty of people that at least should be entertaining on the screen, I don't want to say it's an absolutely amazing cast, but you see plenty of people in this cast that have been nominated for awards, are great comedians, are just overall good at their jobs,
Respected.
Right? They're respected. And those are up and coming, like Ariana Greenblatt, right? Yep. Up and coming artists. You have a certain expectation of entertainment. And that's all I'm saying is entertainment. Not even for good movie, but a certain expectation of entertainment that should at least make me chuckle probably more than once an entire movie. Only once I just go, that's
a little more than I gave it.
That's about it. And I just don't understand how this is made. Well, actually, wait. You see the people behind this movie. I'm very shocked that the people from Madam Web are not a part of this.
All right. I'm so glad you brought up Madam Web.
It's not going to be the only Madam Web reference on this show.
I enjoyed Madam Web way more than Borderlands.
Whoa!
Because it was at least fun to laugh at.
Okay.
This one doesn't even have the quality to hate watch it.
You're right.
How many people of tremendous talent, how much money can you put behind something? And
120 million.
If you tried to make a failure of a movie, you couldn't make what they did with Borderlands.
And $30 million in advertising for it.
Well,
yeah.
There's a reason for that.
Yeah. Hopefully they're hoping people would see this before word of mouth got out.
It's so cringeworthy. Such cringe. So cringe that you couldn't even laugh at it. I think that's a very key point that Jim said. You couldn't even make fun of how bad it was.
I don't know if I would call it cringe.
There was so much cringe. Lots of Jack Black's lines.
Oh, no, sure.
There's so much cringe.
But cringe is...
Here,
go ahead.
This was my saving grace.
I
there
can't
is
wait
one?
for this. I know.
Boy, do I love Cate Blanchett.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Did she need the check?
Even with bad writing and everything, her character's at least slightly interesting. But they rushed her character so much, too. Yeah. There's so much that they probably could have done, but they only did it in an hour 40?
Yeah, I know. We've complained about, how long the run times are on movies, but like they did it completely wrong. They speed through and skip things that would make the movie make sense, make you care. And then they take a very long time for things that are tedious, unfunny, unwatchable. I just don't understand the mindset in there. I mean, there are so many people trying to distance themselves from this movie.
As they should.
I mean, there are people in craft services that are going, could you take my names off the credits? I don't really want to be involved. One of the writers, this was directed by Eli Roth, and he's also one of the writers, along with Joe Abercrombie, and there's other writers that actually took their names off. This movie was made 3 years ago. They sat on it. They did some reshoots a little while back, and then they put it out. And I don't know, maybe they just said, this movie isn't bad enough. We need some more awful, terrible CGI. We also we need, for people to not care about the characters. We need some of them to be 40 years older than they should be from the video games. I mean, like, I can't even begin to get into the minds.
The chopping that they did on this film too is it should have been rated R. They could have probably made a slightly better movie if they just would have just committed to it. Dove in to making a video game movie based on the type of video game that it is and just make it rated R instead of they had to hold back, and you could easily tell.
Oh yeah,
when they were holding so much back in the writing and what they shot, everything.
She used BS in the opening exposition.
Desperately trying to get the PG-13 rating on something that the intellectual property that you base this on and have robbed. The reason those games, were so popular and are so popular still is they're outrageous. They're over the top. They're things you don't expect, and all those things, they put a tight rein on them and took them away when making this movie.
I'll just say everything about this movie should have worked. Okay? You've got Academy Award winner Jamie Lee Curtis. You've got Academy Award winner Cate Blanchett. You've got, I believe, Golden Globe nominated Jack Black. Mm-hmm. You've got future Academy Award winner Ariana Greenblatt.
Yeah.
You got a tremendous IP that you're working from, a massively popular video game.
Funny people, Kevin Hart.
Yes, Kevin Hart, yeah.
You've just got, there's so many things in here that could have been good.
They were set up for success, and they still screwed it up. Like, again, Madam Web levels. Okay? That is very hard to do. The first red flag was that there was no screener. We talk about that all the time on this show.
Yeah.
There was no screener. That was red flag number one.
They did not want any reviewer to see this.
That's right. And again, there's enough gray area there with movies like Furiosa, who also didn't have a screener, where you're like, oh, okay.
Or Deadpool Wolverine, where you want to protect.
Right, because of spoilers or whatever, yeah. So there's enough there that you're like, okay, maybe it's just they just didn't say. No, now we know why there's no screener. It was awful. That's number one. Number two, again, this is a movie that all around it, with the cast and the IP, should be at least a double. Maybe not a home run, but at least a double. Where it's kind of like you go to the, if you're a Borderlands film or a video game fan, where you go to the theater, you're like, oh, okay, it's all right. Like, at least that. No. I'm not a Borderlands fan, so I can't speak to that, but I can tell you that as a general moviegoer, no.
It's not even a pop-up fly. This is a bunt directly to first base, and they still get the guy from third base out, too.
That's right.
It's a bunt double.
It's a bunt double play.
There's just so much about this movie that, I almost wonder, was there a second movie being made and they were punking every single actor in this film and like doing a secondary movie where they've got secret cameras on these people having to go through this horrible script and just, the costume's not good. The CGI, it reminded me of watching, knockoff superhero movies from the early 2000s is the level of the look on this film.
There were some effects that reminded me of 90s Power Rangers.
Sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
in a bad way, not in the let's be nostalgic and
not
have
really
fun.
a good way.
No. If you're being nostalgic, having fun with it,
yeah.
right? You're committing to the bit. No. This is not committing to any bit. The bit here was that they actually got us to go.
And what a waste of the human spirit this entire film was. It fills a much needed void in the film universe.
Yeah, it's called August.
Yeah, just it shouldn't. They shouldn't have made it. All right, it's time for the scoring process here on the Untitled Film Project Podcast. How low can we go? Let's go with Justin Bradford first. Let's get your reasoning and a number to go with it.
You want to get a sip of water first, like last time? Or?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
So obviously, this movie's getting destroyed on any rating site, whether it's IMDb, Rotten Tomatoes, everywhere, right? Audience scores, typically you're going to have some people that give some fresh, because they just want to enjoy, right? They just want to enjoy. I typically am someone, I want to go to enjoy a movie. I don't want to waste my time.
Nope.
Right? Our time's precious.
Don't go in trying to hate a movie.
Right, unless it's Madam Web, and then I was just like, let's watch this burn. But the audience score for it right now, over 500 plus verified ratings, is 52%.
Yeah.
That shows that's bad. That's really bad.
I can't believe it's that high.
I know. I think that you can only credit that to a built-in love of the franchise,
Right,
the
like,
IP.
And even then, it's probably some people that are giving it like 6s and 7s, not anything else.
But still,
I understand.
There's nothing to like here.
Okay, but it's over 130 critic reviews as a 10%.
Who's the two people that liked it?
Yeah.
These are the questions that I have. What is possibly redeeming about this?
But if you're looking at a scale of 0 to 10, if they give it a 3 and other people give it 1,
Okay.
2s, 0.5, 0s.
All right.
10%'s really bad.
Okay.
Yesterday it was at 8. So a couple people probably gave it a 2.
Some relatives of studio executives. Yeah. Who knows?
Or if there are any other redeeming factors, maybe that they found something to give it points, like how sometimes you'll dock for something, maybe they're like, oh, we'll give it a 1/4 point. So what was curious to me, though, is how Cate Blanchett's character was given in youth to Jamie Lee Curtis's character. And I'm like, so she's supposed to be a motherly figure to her. In real life, there's only a 10-year difference between the two of them. So that was curious right there, too. Obviously, they're getting Cate Blanchett because of the actress that she is, right?
Right.
But should that role have been a little bit
Younger?
younger?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just another one of those things, like what were they doing with some of the casting here, right? No backstory at all for so many of them.
Absolutely.
We didn't get any backstory at all.
Like she's grumpy. She's she wants the money. Nothing else.
The first Suicide Squad did a better job of giving backstory than this.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I don't need to continue to rail on. I didn't really enjoy it all that much. I give it a 2 out of 10.
Okay.
All right. Go over.
All right. Well,
That's really low for me, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. He's a generous man.
The writing is so awful, as we talked about. But there's 3 things that I would like to bring up. The first one is they actually used, as a zinger, it wasn't said in some sort of passing, like, sarcastic tone. They actually wrote in the script, apparently, Ariana Greenblatt is supposed to say, "You in what army?" I've been saying that on the playground in elementary school since the 80s. So
yeah,
it's not clever, it's not funny, it's dumb, it's way overused, and that's what you went with for a zinger. So that's number one.
This one
Illustrate how horrible this was. The second one is, if you had on your bingo card a truck vehicle hitting the brakes just enough to not fall off the cliff and teeter like a cartoon, you win, because that's also in there. There's so many just awful, stupid things that are in there. That's just 2 examples.
Thought you had 3.
I did, but I can't really do one.
Okay.
And you know what? I can't waste any more. If you went and saw this, you've already wasted your time.
Your time is precious.
Right. The last thing I'll say, this movie insulted me. Yep. Not as a critic, as a general audience goer, this movie insulted me. When you have...
As a human carbon-based life form.
When you have a backstory like the video games, you have so much to go on. And I understand that you're making this movie for the fans of the video game. That's fine, okay? But you have a responsibility to get the rest of the general public up to speed somehow, especially when you spend $120 million to make it. And you're not just appealing to fans at that point. You're saying, no, we think this is going to be a big deal.
Right. It's going to be a Guardians movie or that kind of thing.
Right. So I'm a general audience guy. I know of Borderlands. Have never played it. I don't think I've ever seen it on a screen before. But I know of it, so I'm at least familiar to that degree. I am your general movie audience, and it was so not good. So, all that being said, I give it a 3.5, but here's why. Because I gave Madam Web a 3.
Oh.
And I do like it better than Madam Web because because the cast did a great job.
Wow. You fanboy. Borderlands fanboy right there.
Who likes everything.
Wow. I'm going to just disagree with you on the cast. Looked like they didn't want to be there. I think they felt this is terrible. Let's get this over with. These people are too smart, too talented, been through so many good projects that there's no way they could have thought that this was only going to get ruined in the editing process. This entire movie, from start to finish, is okay. Let's get through this adventure and this mishap and then there's a clue that leads us to the next thing, and then there's going to be an adventure and then a mishap, and then it's going to lead us clue to the next thing. Wash, rinse, repeat till the movie ends. It's satisfied on no level. It wasn't funny. It wasn't thrilling. It wasn't really, I think, good to look at. Jack Black plays Claptrap the robot. Now, whatever you think, some people love him, some people don't like him at all. To me, I judge him differently on everything he does. He was given the worst lines ever. I don't know if these were handed to him or it was ad-libbed, but not even a laugh out of the entire thing. Maybe in retrospect with the name Claptrap, if your robot has an STD connotation, it's just awful. It was wretched, and I am going to give this the lowest score I've given a movie, I believe, ever on this podcast. 1.5 for Borderlands.
Wow.
Yeah. I kept looking for a reason to like it. Couldn't. It failed me. Well, Borderlands has roasted on the spit for a while, so let's go to our big question.
The big question this week, of course, is video game related. What video game would you like to see turned into a feature film? That is the big question of today. We are looking forward to your responses here because you're probably way more of a gamer than we are. Bradford, he's got it down a little bit, or used to be in a previous life.
Here and there.
Yeah, but that's kind of where
I dabble.
That's fair enough. I played Dr. Mario from the Super Nintendo and still on the Switch, so that's the extent of my video gaming in the last probably 15 years. And I don't know where Jim's at, but either way, we'd love to hear your feedback. So
Jim's
you can hit us
playing
on
Pac-Man.
all the socials. Check us out there. Let us know in the comments below as well if you're watching on YouTube.
In my day, we only had a paddle with a ball.
Oh, we had 2 bars and a ball.
Yeah. What video game would you like to see made into a feature film? Let's go. Just kick it off.
Me?
Yeah.
Ghouls and Ghosts.
All right. Tell me about Ghouls and Ghosts and why you think that's good.
Really. It's from the Nintendo / Super Nintendo era.
Not even familiar.
It's one of my favorite games of all time, but because it has a personal connection. Me, my best friend at the time would play it almost every day.
Sure.
And it was the kind of game back in the day, right, where they didn't have a whole lot of memory on the cartridge. So the first the first sequence was you go all the way to the boss, and then you win, and then it puts you through the game again. It was that kind of game, right? Mm-hmm. And there was a final boss at the end. Oh, I got the Loki. Anyway, so that Ghouls and Ghosts is mine. Again, it's not that compelling of a story, but I think you could make something out of a knight in the Arthur trying to save a queen. It's been done 1,000 times, but the way they do it, I think you could probably make something out of that.
Starring Adam Sandler, right?
Oh, yes. Adam Sandler, and he's trying to save the daughter of Tim Allen. Yes. Yeah.
All right. My, video game history has always been like at different stages of my life. Like I would like duck out from video games for a long period of time. Then I would jump back in and maybe catch one or have somebody really recommend something. So I'm going to go back to a game that came out in 2016 that my son recommended to me because I think it has a really good story. I mean, all the good video games now are really, there's really good writers out there making great stories, compelling characters. So my video game that I would like to see made into a movie is called Firewatch. And it's kind of a mystery. It's kind of a thriller. And you're like a park ranger up at the top of a Firewatch tower, and you just the whole movie is great because it's what you don't know is happening and you have to investigate. So this is a good mystery thriller. I can see maybe an M. Night Shyamalan doing this film. It gives me the vibes of some of the things that he's done, like Knock on the Cabin Door and some other, some of his films. I think that would be a compelling movie. It wouldn't feel like a video game because this is kind of it's a slow-moving, a slow burn movie. But if it's made into a film, I would like to see that. Firewatch.
I think that's great, Jim.
All right,
that's really good.
What about you, Bradford?
F-Zero? No.
Hubert?
No, okay. This is not my real answer, but
Hubert.
Are you all familiar with F-Zero?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
Super Nintendo.
No, bring it into me.
Futuristic racing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what it was. There's even a level on Mario Kart that is F-Zero related.
Right. Now I'm picturing it.
You can play it for free online too, on the Switch, against 100 other people around the world, and just
yes, and you're loops, defying gravity.
It's just a futuristic racing movie. That's an easy out, right? It's also Excite Bike.
Wow.
Were you
Paperboy?
But my real answer, and the thing is, gamers, I want to know your real answers to this because there's so many games that I've not played. Like Jim said, have incredible writing and such good promise to it that a lot of these games have A-list actors voicing these characters.
Yeah.
Along with there's so many voice actors out there that are just very well known in the gaming industry that they also are lots of things recorded in Nashville that are video game scores.
Where we're based.
Recorded in that. It's a huge industry. I want to know your real answers. Mine, because I really think, and this is not necessarily a movie, but it could be a trilogy or obviously a great television series, is The Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
There's so much to work with here, so many different variations of it. And obviously, this is one of those ones that's going to be highly anticipated or criticized, or so many fake things that have come out about the making of Zelda movie, right? But I truly think this would be so well done as a series.
That's where you go.
Right,
very smart.
It's going to be very difficult to pull this off, even in a trilogy, because you're going to miss so many things that fans are going to want. If you really want to give fans of that video game what it deserves, you have to make it a series.
Yeah. Go the route of Fallout as a recent example.
Yes.
Very well done. Flesh out those characters, make it meaningful.
Build it.
Yeah.
If you have to do it, then just say, we're making a trilogy. Right off the bat so people know what to expect.
Right.
Frozen, we're going to have 2 more.
Just 2? I predict even more.
Yeah.
But if they said Borderlands is going to be a trilogy, we'd be in big trouble right now.
Oh, yeah.
You're twitching. Yeah, exactly. This is exactly
it. You got to do it right. That's the key to everything, right? So we would love to know which video game you would like to see made into a feature film. Extra credit points to anybody in the comments or who hits us up on socials who mentions Oregon Trail. That would be fun.
That'd be rated R and it'd be horror.
Oh, everybody dies of dysentery.
Well, actually, that could be
a horror movie.
Pretty cool, actually.
The Oregon Trail this October
from Blumhouse Films.
You name everyone after your friends, half will die.
Thank you for listening to the Untitled Film Project Podcast. To support the show, please rate, review, follow, and subscribe. Original music by Jeremy Schwartz. Special thanks to the Music City Film Critics Association. Editing and post-production by Jeremy K. Gover. Voiceover by Chad Bennett.